Hi howdy family, welcome back to the channel. Join me, let's make this native rice and beans. See, this rice and beans, it hit the right spot, trust me. So in a clean dry pot, add your palm oil. I had to add enough palm oil because I wanted it to have that banga taste. This is my pre-cooked goat meat, so I'm going to be frying this in this palm oil. See, do not skip this part, okay? Ensure you fry it in the palm oil. Now I have my neatly cleaned fish, which I also had to fry in this palm oil because I want all these proteins to release their flavor into the oil so that I can use it to make the sauce. If you notice, I took out the head of the fish because I really don't want it in the sauce. All I want is just the other part of it because you know the head of the fish is usually very bony and I don't want bone in the oil. So I pretty much just fried this for a while. Then I added seasoning cube. So for this, I added 3 seasoning cubes to the protein already frying. Okay, I added it and stirred it up. You pretty much want to keep an eye on this because you don't want your sauce to get your protein to get burnt. Okay, you just want it to soak up that palm oil, very essential, and also release the juice to the palm oil. So just keep an eye on it and ensure that it doesn't get burnt. Okay, so as you can see, it's already frying up. I don't want it too dry. I just want it to cook in the palm oil and release its flavor. That's all right? But if you want it too dry, you might have to leave it inside the palm oil for a longer period of time so that I can get frying. Now at this point, it's time to introduce my onions. So I had to cut up my onions and I added it. Okay, you have to stir this as well, stir this up together and allow it to fry up for a while so that the onion, of course, can release a flavor to the oil. See, what we are doing at this point is building flavor, so please don't skip any part of this if you want to get that banga taste, okay, that native rice and beans taste. See, do not skip this part. So please don't be in a hurry to add every other thing. Allow the onion to release its flavor before you now add the next thing. Now this is my okpei and pepper. Okay, I don't know what others call it, but this is ogiri. Okay, this is also one other ingredient you shouldn't skip. So I just cooked it out with the pepper and I added it to the sauce. So when I added it, I just stirred it up so that, you know, it can also just release its own flavor. Remember, what we are doing at this point is building up flavor. So just ensure you're very patient at this point to just stir everything up together and allow them to just release their own taste to it. I have already blended pepper in my fridge, which I also added to the mix. Okay, and then I stirred it up. Of course, you can see that the bottom part of my pot is already getting burnt, not really burnt, but of course it's drying up, so I had to stir it up very well because I don't want it to get burnt at any point. Okay, now at this point it's time to add water. So just add a moderate amount of water. For this recipe, I'm using my rice that is not cooked already. It's just washed rice, okay, and then my properly cooked beans. Okay, so if you know that you're using rice that is not parboiled already, just try to add moderate amount of water because you will need it to cook your rice. Now I took off the fish because I don't want it to scatter while I'm cooking the rice. Okay, and then at this point I just had to taste and pretty much just added things that were needed to be added to it. So this is my salt. I had to add salt because it needed more salt. I also added crayfish. See, I don't know how you make rice and beans without crayfish, but I'm telling you now never to do that mistake. Okay, do not skip adding crayfish to your rice and beans. Now I added my rice, my already neatly washed rice, to the mix. Okay, and then I added seasoning cube because it needed to be seasoned more, so I added 2 seasoning cube to it. Okay, and then I just turned this up together to ensure that it's properly joined. Then I added my uziza. See, you need to add this uziza. Just make sure you add a moderate amount. You will see the size I added. It is more like a teaspoon. Okay, now this is it, just a teaspoon of uziza. Now I had to just cover this up and allow it to cook. So when I realized that my rice was already properly cooked, I had to add my beans. See, this beans is fully cooked already. If you've been watching my video on this channel, you'll realize I said that normally I cook my beans in large quantity and just store in the fridge. So whenever I want to make beans or anything with beans, I just bring it out and add. It saves my time in the kitchen, and honestly, it saves me that long time of making beans. So I just pretty much added the beans and then added more crayfish. See, You cannot make rice and beans without crayfish. Anybody that told you that is making a big mistake, okay? So ensure you add enough crayfish to it, and then when you do that, just stir. Now, do not stir from the middle part of the bottom. Just stir it broad. You can see how I'm doing it, like just around it to ensure everything goes round, okay? And then you cover. Please ignore my pot cover, all right? As you can see, I added the fish. I realized that I didn't film when I added it, but I just added it after adding my beans to just cook inside. Remember, I didn't fry it because of the bone. So afterwards, I opened it up and saw that my yumminess is almost ready. Now I checked for excess water because I don't want it so soggy. So I realized that it was already, pretty much cooked. So I had to take out the head of the fish. Remember, it has a lot of bone and you don't want it scattered in the food. So when I realized that it's already properly cooked, I took out the head of the fish because I wanted to turn. Just look at. Now it's time to add our vegetable, and this is scent leaf. Just pretty much add your vegetable and stir. Scent leaf is a very essential ingredient in your native rice and beans. So if you do not have it, stop that cooking, go and get it. It's very essential, okay? So I just added it and I had to turn it very well to ensure that it gets to every side of it. And, just pretty much turn. And your rice and beans is ready, just like that. But trust me, this is so mouth-watering. Like, you can't even believe the level of, sweetness this is going to give you. If you've never had native rice and beans, please do try this my recipe and come back. I'm waiting. I will always wait for you in my comment section. Okay? So please try this.